If you're having a hard time being effective in game situations, this is probably one of the main things that's holding you back. I'm gonna go over all the details you need to know in this video. I've seen this help players go from just being so-so, or maybe not even effective in games, scared in games, not able to react in games, but good in practice, to all of a sudden, boom, things starting to transfer in game situations. I'm gonna show you exactly how to fix it. Coach Jesse Mincher with Get Handles Basketball, where I show you how to train harder and smarter so you can play like the pros. First of all, let's go over what the big problem is, and it's training. It's the way players practice. The way most practice is done, and the way most coaches teach practice, and most skills trainers teach practice, develops motor patterns, working on a skill over and over and over and over again. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because repetition is, like they say, it's the mother of learning, right? You're getting a lot of repetitions at maybe doing your between the legs and crossover, or a lot of repetitions shooting, right? Whatever the skill is, but especially with your handles, getting those repetitions is huge. That's how you get the move down. That's how you get it to be more effective. That's how you get it crisp. That's how you focus on the details that need to be in the move. All that is great. All that is important. You have to get that in so you have the move down and can do it in a game situation. I'm not saying to get rid of that. The problem is most players' training focuses only on that side of things. Games don't work that way. It's not like you just do a move and there's no one in front of you. There's no teammates or other defenders on the court to react to. There's a lot more going on in a game than just doing the move on an empty court. You have to move around defenders. You have to react to what's happening. You have to be mentally focused. Here's some of the main aspects that don't get trained in players in their practice, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can fix that so you can put that into your practice. You need all of them if you want to be effective in games. And if you're wondering, coach, well, if I need to work on the skills that I need in games, couldn't I just play in more games? The answer is yes, but no. The problem with getting into just more games to work on dealing with the whole court situation and the entire defense is that in a game situation, if you're on the court for 60 minutes, let's just say there's only 10 players on the court, right? 5 for your team, 5 for the other team. That means the ball gets split up. Let's just say it gets split up evenly for that time. 60 minutes on the court divided by 10 players. That means you touch the basketball 6 minutes to actually work on your ball handling skills in that game situation in 60 minutes of time. That's not gonna help you as much as you need to. Things I'm gonna give you in this video are gonna show you ways to develop some of those game type skills on your own, and that'll help you improve that side of things much more quickly. First thing that you're gonna have to deal with in a game situation is reactions and timing. You can't just blindly go into your moves. You have to react to how your defender's playing you. You have to react to what's happening with the rest of the court. You have to be able to time things at the right time. If I do a move and my defender's in front of me, I gotta be able to sell the fake and get that timing right to shift them and then come the other way. I can't just blindly go into it. I have to be able to time things. You have to also be able to time different situations, time teammates, things like that, right? A good way to work on that is a tennis ball, because that gives you something external to react to, number one, and be able to time things, because you have to time your catching of the tennis ball and your movement to catch that tennis ball. Here's some real quick things I like to do is just dribbling, throw the tennis ball out and catching it off the bounce. You can even catch it in the air. You can do crossovers in the air, catching the tennis ball. You can catch the tennis ball off the bounce. At the end of the video, I'm gonna give you a few more like advanced things and things that help you continue to progress on this, because you can't just go ahead and do one thing and get used to it. If you wanna continue to adapt and get better, just like your moves, up the ante, right? Do something a little more challenging. Click the like button if this makes sense so far, and leave me a comment if this is helping. Say, this helps. Next big thing, and this gets really overlooked, is your mentality and focus. Being able to remain calm in game situations, stay focused on what your goal is, but also within that, making the ball handling part feel natural. Maybe you've heard the expression like the basketball is a part of his body when people talk about a great ball handler. And that comes from having their handle become second nature, so they're just reacting to what's happening on the court, not really thinking about what they're doing for moves. They're just kind of flowing. A couple things you can do to help work on that side of things is 2-ball drills. Dribbling, doing crossovers, dribbling, going between the legs, because you can't completely just focus on both basketballs. It's hard to kind of put your attention on both, right? You'll have to either just focus on one, and as you get better, you'll be able to just not even focus on either, and it'll become more and more natural. And again, tennis ball drills. So again, that video I'm gonna link to you at the end will help with the tennis ball drills. I'll also link to you at the end some great 2-ball drills that'll help you improve this side of things. Next thing you have to address is spacing. I've heard skills coaches say, you know, cones don't move, defenders do. And I agree with that completely. I get that. Like if I do a move here to sell a fake, a lot of times the defender is going to shift at least a little bit and a cone would stay put. Completely agree. However, that being said, you can't get a feel for the spacing you need and the body control with your footwork, your ball placement, all that, if you're not doing something to work on that side of things. You could get some work in with the defender, that would be more ideal, but still doing stuff with cone work is going to help. It could be as simple as just doing a crossover between the legs, crossover to weave between cones. You could set them up in all kinds of different patterns. You can do circles around the cones, right? Just like this. There's a lot of little things you can do. I'm not gonna give you something super specific in this video other than to tell you, like, work on bringing them into the mix with your drills, whether you're working on your crossovers or doing a combo move to the hoop. Getting something in your way, could be cones, could be chairs, could be shoes, just something in your path. So you have to, number one, get some sort of that reactional element again. Not as much because it doesn't move like a tennis ball, but number two, figure out the spacing you need so you can get an understanding of that with your ball placement, your foot placement, all that stuff. This is one of the reasons why maybe you run into defenders and get charges, or maybe that the defender steals the basketball because you don't have your ball positioning figured out, or you lose the basketball. All those little things happen when you don't have your spacing down. Okay, this next skill I'm gonna make pretty quick, but contact. Couple things you can do on this side of things. Number one, get a training partner if you can. And I realize that's not an option for all of you, kind of like with the cones before. You don't always have the option to have someone to play defense on you, so a cone's a good option for that. If you can get a training partner for contact, that's gonna be the best possible scenario. However, I realize it's not possible for all of you. So something like that, I would recommend, again, the tennis ball drills, because that's gonna help you develop that active offhand by grabbing the tennis ball, and you could just imagine, okay, I'm using this active offhand when I'm catching the tennis ball to help shield the defender out and handle contact. It's not gonna be quite the same as having a training partner, but it's the next best thing that you're probably gonna have if you can't get a training partner. Last two things that are missing from a lot of players training is, number one, body positioning. So this isn't necessarily something that happens just in the game that you're not working on your own, but I see a lot of players going through moves and their body positioning isn't where it's gonna be, and that's what's gonna make it work better in games. If I'm gonna sell a fake, I wanna be able to lean into that fake and get low with it. Number one, that's gonna help me sell the fake because now I'm leaning my hips and my chest into the fake. Most good defenders are taught to follow the hips and the chest. Number two, that's gonna get me lower, so my hands are on the basketball for more of the dribble motion, versus if I'm up here, there's all this air time. If I can have my hands on the basketball for more of the dribble motion, I'm gonna have more control. Getting a lower stance for most things is gonna be effective and helpful. I always tell players, I don't mind if you dribble up to shoulder height. I'm not saying like some coaches, you always have to have it like knee, waist height. I've seen, if you watch the best NBA players, Kyrie and all those guys, they'll dribble up here. But 90% of the time, you do wanna have your stance low. That's one thing I 100% agree with. Something I like to add in is ground touches into drills. I'll have players do all kinds of different things where they're touching the ground, going through their different moves, just to get them in the habit of staying low with their stance and their body positioning. And then the final thing that you have to have that doesn't get trained enough in players that you need in games is speed. You have to have a good change of speed, and you also have to just have a high level of max speed. In game situations, you have to have that burst of speed to really get past your defender. So you have to work on getting faster with your footwork and your explosiveness and your dribbling, but you also have to have that change of speed so defenders can't adapt. Dwayne Wade was quoted as saying, I don't always move at full speed, because if I'm doing it that way, now my defender's ready, they can adjust to my speed, and they're always able to get in front of me. So you have to have a slow to fast to slow type of game. You don't want to be moving 100% all the time. I got a YouTube video that's going to help you with getting a higher max speed, and another YouTube video that's going to help you with the change of speed. This will help with their max speed. This will help with your change of speed. This YouTube video is the tennis ball drills I was talking about, and this is the 2-ball drills. Click the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you can catch the newest videos, and I'll see you in one of these videos.